What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network. I'm currently between getting home from work and then leaving to go to school, so this is going to be a quick one. But the expanded ban list has been updated. This is huge. Now, it's not all rainbows and Galarian Rapidashes. I do have two problems with the expanded ban list update, but I also have two not problems because there were four updates to it. So we're going to get into this. Shout out to PokemonStore.com, my wonderful sponsor. And if you need some Crobat Vs because Shaymin EX just got banned, make sure you go buy some Darkness Ablaze codes and use code Celio for 5% off. So up here on the screen, I have a video that I made back in June called How to Fix the Expanded Format. One of the things was ban Shaymin EX once Crobat V comes out. Another was ban Oranguru from Ultra Prism. Since then, people can change, opinions can change. Since then, I changed my mind. I didn't think Oranguru from Ultra Prism needed to be banned anymore, but at one point I did. Another thing here was make all cards that exclude EX, GX, or V now exclude all of them, and I was talking about that because of Milotic with Energy Grace. This was a problem, so I wanted that to be changed so it couldn't fix Trevenant, so it couldn't accelerate energy to Trevenant Dusknoir anymore. And if you did not see my video from earlier today that premiered at midnight Eastern time on what I wanted to have happen to the ban list, make sure you go watch that either before or after this video, because I explain a lot about the past bans and why these now present bans should be made. But let's look at what they decided to ban. So as of today, October 29th, and effective November 27th, I really hope it comes into PTC Geo Ladder before that, but effective November 27th, Milotic, Oranguru, Sableye. Why is my autofocus like this? Come on now, work with me here. Hang on. Okay. Milotic, Oranguru, Sableye, and Shaymin EX have been banned in the expanded format. Nothing has been unbanned, nothing has been errated, and nothing in standard format has been changed. So, Milotic, good. I originally, like, my ideal case would have been make this exclude Pokemon EX, GX, and V, and just, you don't have to ban the card that way, so you could use it on amazing rares. But that's fine. It's much easier for a physical card game to ban cards than errata them. It's not as easy with something like Legends of Runeterra or Hearthstone, where they can constantly change the cards because they're all online. So perfectly okay with this. This is a good move because you can keep the Trevenant Dusknoir card in the game. But this was the catalyst for Trevenant Dusknoir being toxic. If you have to get 3 energy onto Trevenant Dusknoir in a way that's a little bit less consistent and a little more random, like Max Elixir, then it's not as toxic because Milotic was making it happen every time and forcing your opponent to take a prize card while doing so. So I'm glad Milotic is gone. Oranguru from Ultra Prism. I'm torn on this one because, as I showed you at one point this past summer, I did want Oranguru banned, but more recently I feel like Oranguru isn't degenerate, but I completely understand TPCI banning it, and I have the TPCI's reasoning is down below. We'll get to that in just a moment. Next is Sableye. I didn't want Sableye banned, so this is the one I'm really upset about. Oranguru, like I said, I at one point wanted it banned, and I definitely understand the reasoning, so I'm fine. I'll take the Oranguru ban. I'm just going to miss the little guy. But Sableye, Junk Hunt, I'm not a fan of banning this, just because stall, control, whatever you want to call it, wasn't at a point where it was so degenerate. Like, you either had to play it or lose to it, or like it locked you out of the game completely. It took a lot of skill to play Junk Hunt style control, because you have to get 2 item cards, and you have to try to kind of preemptively decide which 2 item cards you're going to need next turn, which is a lot harder since Puzzle of Time was banned. Whereas Oranguru, putting any 3 cards at the bottom of your discard pile gives you a lot more freedom, and I feel like this takes a little bit less skill to pile it correctly than something like Sableye Garbodor. But there's still other ways to do these, like recursion of resources things, like Bunnelby from Primal Clash, Excadrill. So we'll still see things like that happening. So Sableye banned, and then Shaman EX banned. My ideal situation for Shaman was errata it to say only once per turn like Crobat, so then you would have slightly more speed in the expanded format because you would have Shaman Crobat to Dene as opposed to standard just having Crobat to Dene. But like I said, it's harder to errata cards when this card is what, 8 years old, 7 years old. Maybe I'm overestimating how old Shaman is. But very old, and this isn't just an online card game. At the moment, yeah, it kind of is for North America because of the pandemic, but it's not just an online card game, and erratas are messy when you have a physical card game to deal with. So 4 cards were banned in the expanded format. The reasoning for these changes is below. Milotic's Energy Grace ability doesn't work with Pokemon EX, but it still works with GX and V. This created some undesirable combos, such as the one with Trevenant Dusknoir and Ace Trainer. As more Pokemon V come out in the future, there's a high likelihood of even more combos with Milotic being discovered. I completely agree, which is why, again, I wanted the errata, but I understand why errata is not the most feasible option. Also, something I mentioned in the earlier video from today about what I wanted, it seems like they were focusing on results from the last major expanded tournaments, which was, you know, 8 months ago, and that like these bans definitely reflect that. Sorry, I'm rushing. Oranguru's Resource Management attack and Sableye's Junk Hunt attack allow for infinite resource recursion strategies that are relatively simple to achieve. Like I said, I think Oranguru's is easier, and Sableye Garbodor takes more skill because, like, one false move at any point in the game and Sableye Garbodor just crumbles, in my opinion. But I understand them wanting to ban it. In an attempt to curb the effectiveness of some of these control and lock strategies, these cards have been banned. So control and stall is still in the expanded format. And I like that they mentioned they don't want to remove it from the game, because without control and lock strategies being a threat, like, you can just aggro goes unchecked. That's typically how it goes, you know. Control checks aggro as long as aggro doesn't beat them before they get the control off, and then mid-range is kind of in between. Now I'm talking in Magic the Gathering terms, and let's move on. The sheer amount of card drawing provided by Shaman EX's setup ability allowed dangerous combo decks to function at an alarmingly consistent rate. I 100% agree. With the introduction of Scoop Up Net, it became too easy to use setup, so, you know, make Scoop Up Net just say not usable on EXs, to use setup repeatedly in a single turn. Crobat V and Dedenne GX provide effects similar to Shaman EX, so this type of card isn't completely gone, but their Dark Asset and Dede change abilities are limited to 1 use per turn. Like I said, let's just make the assumption that the team at TPCI decided we are only errata-ing cards if that's the only choice. We are banning as long as we can ban. Then I think 3 out of 4 of these make perfect sense. I would say that if we had expanded tournaments still going on, I feel like in the past months that Oranguru and Sableye would not have seemed like they needed to be banned. But if they're looking at results from, like, the winter, maybe that's why they wanted to nerf stall a little bit. But I would have just banned Robo Substitute, so you couldn't have 4 Doll and 4 Robo. But Milotic and Shaman EX, I 100% agree with. Oranguru, I would have preferred to see Oranguru stay, but I understand why they would get rid of it. And Sableye, I would have liked them to at least leave Sableye, but you know what? This is a huge step. I'm glad they're doing this. Some people might say that they're banning things too late, but Shaman EX got replaced by Crobat V, so now was the perfect time, in my opinion. So let me know what you think about these decisions and these bans in the expanded format, what decks you think they will affect. Obviously Trevenant Dusknoir is the big one, but I'm excited for online expanded tournaments to come. Check play.limitlesstcg.com because I know there's one coming in November. It is before this effective date, but I imagine that tournament, the expanded tournament with Vivid Voltage Legal that's scheduled on play.limitlesstcg.com, I imagine they will just enact these bans early for that tournament. since it's not like an official TPCI tournament. So check that out at play.limitlesstcg.com. If you didn't know that was a site, now you do. Limitless TCG is holding tournaments. I'm actually going to contact Limitless and ask them like if they're adding play.limitlesstcg, a link to it on the Limitless website, because I've heard a lot of people tell me they didn't even know that that was a site. Thank you for watching this video. Leave your feedback down below. Sorry I had to rush through this, but I wanted to talk about these bans. And like I said, there's much more talk about these bans on my channel. If you watch the video from earlier today that premiered at midnight, and that video from 4 months ago, which I briefly showed at the beginning of this video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Use code Celio for 5% off at PoTownStore.com. And I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.